Okay, first of all, I'm going to explain that. For this week 4, under 9/11, there's some homework on more conversions here. Okay. I will tell you that I did not make this homework. Okay. Okay. It was actually made by Jeff Thompson, he created all the content pretty much for this class, and I'm using majority of it. I don't really know. I don't know, but no, this is his stuff, and it's not bad. See, Jeff. How many of you know Jeff? Anybody? One person. Jeff is an amazing programmer. Okay, I mean, really, 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 really good. But he's lacking some social skills sometimes, I think. But getting along with students, students love him. I have not had a single complaint. All I hear is rave reviews of him. So if you ever had to take a class with him, you'll be fine. But no, that's where this homework came from. Okay, so yeah. So now you know, I don't like milk baths. I've never tried a milk bath, but I don't think I will either. So, all right, so everybody okay on what the homework is for this week? You got a week to do it. I'm not going to walk you through it all, but we're going to talk about some stuff today that will help you do that. Okay? All right. Now, Chapter 2 is what we're supposed to be covering today. Talks about variables and data types. I'm going to bring up Python since we need it. It's always a good idea to have Python available. Okay. Maybe. There we go. It's up and running. Okay. Now, let's type. That always sounds weird. Type. Hello there, or something. Hello something. Okay? Just type that. And what this comes back and tells us is that type tells us the type. And what we're asking the type of is the string hello world. So it tells us it's a string. Make sense? Easy enough there? I'm assuming we all can get that to work. So what if I did type 5? What do you think we'll get? Anybody? Should get int. Class int, because 5 is an integer. So what if I did type 5.0? It's actually a float, which is the larger data type, which is actually technically a double as well. What if I did type 5 like that? String. Now let me get this higher on the board so y'all can see it. No, I can't type in that one. I hate when it does that. So I'm trying to make it so people in the front that are my computer. What if I did type? What am I going to get now? But is it technically a string? In some languages like Java, this is known as a character. So what's the difference between a character and a string? Does anybody know?
Character is just one character.
Character is one character. A string is a bunch of characters. So technically a character can also be a string. Just put a bunch of characters together, you got a string. Okay? See how that works there? So yeah, there are ways to check it, and different ones can hold different things. Okay? I was grading some homework this morning, and someone had a variable called current time. What do you think, what type of variable could hold current time? I'm talking just the hour. What do you think? What type of variable could hold 12? An int. Could I also hold that in a string, though?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I could. Well, they held it in a string. And the problem was they were trying to do a mathematical calculation on current time. And if current time is a string, can you subtract 2 from it?
Not without typecasting.
Right, not without changing its type or typecasting, which we're going to see here in a minute. So really the type of variable, and it's like web pages, for instance. We all know what a web page is. When you enter anything into a web page, what variable type does it come in as? Anyone know? It's always string. It's always string. It has to be converted because they don't know. Really, the internet is not really made for different types of variables, so it always comes as a string, then you have to typecast it. Typecasting is changing the type. Okay? So they got some examples here. It says they're strings. Strings are just collection of characters. Numbers can also be strings. We could have 5 is a string. It can be. Okay. All right. Now they talk about different things with quotes. Let's just type what they have there. Doesn't have to be exact. Let's type print spelled correctly. Okay. They have a bunch of weird. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh no. Ben's bike is broken. Oh, I had too many of those, didn't I? Okay. So as long as you kind of got them evenly together, it's going to work fine. Okay? But like it says, there are triple quoted strings can go multiple lines, which I don't think it's a great idea, but you can. Why do you think I might want to put a string on more than one line? Anybody? Why would I ever want to take a string and break it up so it's on multiple lines? I don't know. Well, if the string's very long, and I'm trying to type my code in here, and I don't want this string that... It's like, I'm assuming none of you know COBOL. No? Well, COBOL, your code had to start at index 7. I think it was 7, either 7 or 8. And then your comments had to start on like 67. And you couldn't go beyond that. I mean, you were limited on where you could type your actual computer code. So triple quotes do allow you, like they say here, to span multiple lines, where you could put strings on multiple lines. It just makes it easier to read. Okay? And like when it outputs, this will span multiple lines, includes the carriage returns and line feeds. Now, I was working with a student all weekend long in my Java class. He submitted an assignment last week that did not work correctly for me, but it worked fine for him. So we kept working back and forth, like, what do you do? And I still don't know how the heck he got it to work correctly because it's wrong. But the point was, when he ran it, it showed, these are called line feeds or carriage returns. You see it's onto the next line. But when I ran it, it didn't have any of that, and it all kind of ran together. And to this point, I still don't know what the heck the problem is, because he's like, it works fine here. I'm like, well, it doesn't work here. And with Java or Python, if it works on one, it should work on the other. They're pretty much independent of operating system. But this one here, triple quotes, you can go into multiple lines. Will you ever need something like that? Probably not, but you might. Okay? So talking more about strings. Let's talk about this next section here, where they put in 42,000. So why did it just output it on the screen? Anybody know? First, I didn't tell it to do anything else. Let's see how large. Does it tell us what the largest number that can go is? Yeah, I don't know how big they can get. I don't know. Wow, it can get quite large in Python. I don't know the maximum, but they talk about how don't put it in commas. Well, there's a reason why. There's something called lists, which we haven't got to yet. And if you start putting things in commas like they have here and like I did here, it's going to break it into two separate pieces. It's going to say like your element 42 has 0 in it. Okay? Which is kind of weird, but that's the way it works. So like if I did 42, comma 1, 2, 3, it'll be 42, then 1, 2, 3. So the way you put things in is tough. Okay? This, you can call it a dictionary, you can call it a list. We're going to talk more about that later. It's just a way of things are stored in Python. Okay? Now let's get down to the part about variables. Okay? What a variable is a storage container. Okay, I have made in the last 3 days like 5 trips to Walmart to find a stinking plastic container to hold stuff. I still haven't found what I wanted. And I bought many of them and I've returned them all. So I'm getting very good at the Walmart return policy. It's funny, I brought something back with no receipt and they gave me a gift card. Okay? I brought something else back that my wife had bought a while back with the receipt but without the debit card and they gave me a gift card. Then I brought something back with the receipt and the credit card I purchased it with and they gave me cash. So I'm like, what the heck is this? And the lady's like, I don't know. It's weird. It just is whatever it wants. But so, yeah, I'm having an issue finding these containers. I still haven't found the one I want yet. I needed a specific height, but I find it. So, I know it's kind of weird, but let's talk what about variables are. They're storage containers. Whenever we do something, like say you're going to fill out a form online, it asks for your name. Your name is obviously stored somewhere. Your address is stored somewhere. Everything we do is stored somewhere, okay? When you take a test online, your answers are stored somewhere. They're all stored in variables. And we can make variables like here. I can type just what they have here. They have message, what's up, doc. So what type of, whoops, I forgot something, didn't I? Actually, I'm going to leave it off on purpose. So what happens when I hit enter? I get a syntax error. Does someone know how I can fix that without retyping it all? I can do that, but you basically just go to the line and hit enter and it brings it down for you. Depending on the language, some of you can just push up and it will bring it back. So now we have a message, what's up doc? Okay, now what if I type message again? Tells you what it is. Because what it is since we have an interpreter here, when I typed message equals what's up doc, it actually stored it in memory. So until I close out this window, it's going to store it. Okay, I could add to it. Message actually let's do plus equals hi. Now what do you think message is going to say? Message is going to say. Anybody? You know what that does? It's going to say, what's up, doc? Hi. Because what I told it was, this thing right here is called an assignment operator. I know you guys think it's an equal sign. Well, it's not. It's an assignment operator. I said, take this string, what's up, doc, and assign it to the variable message. So that way when I type message, I get what was assigned to it. Easy enough. This next string says take the message, or message is equal to. Now this thing here is called what's called a unary operator. Actually, no, this one's called a compound operator. I'm sorry. Compound operator. I don't know. It'll mention it here somewhere. This says message is equal to message plus hi. So it takes whatever's in message and adds hi's to the end of it. Is that confusing? The plus equals? For those of us, she knows Java. You've probably seen it many times in Java. It's a very, very popular thing. It's just something different. Okay? Was anyone here real good at knitting? Anybody knit anymore? Crochet, okay. I used to crochet way back then, but if she was to show me something in crochet, I would probably be very confused at this point. It's just because I'm not used to it. The same thing here. Until you get used to this kind of stuff, it might seem confusing to you. But yeah, that's exactly what that one does. Now, we have another variable, n equals 17. So what did that do? It took the value 17, it assigned it to the variable n. Easy enough. So if I type n, I get 17. What happens if I type n double equals 17? What do you think we're going to get?
It checks to see if n is equal to 17. True. Yeah.
It is. What if I did n equals 18?
False.
What if I say something we haven't done yet? We'll say r equals 18. Doesn't know what R is at this point. So a single equal sign is a sign. A double equal sign is a relational operator. In other words, is it equal to? Okay? Don't mess them up. Java, for instance, way back when Java, many issues ago, like Java 4, this is some Java code. I could write if, n, okay, so n is what? N is 18, okay? No, n is 17, correct? If n equals 18, so let's do something, okay? That would pretty much be Java code, okay? So back with Java 4, what that would do, actually, I'm sorry, I did that one wrong. I meant the single one. Okay. With Java 4, if I ran that statement, first of all, do you know what it does now? You know Java. It would basically say invalid. It would come back and say invalid operator, because this is an assignment operator, not an equality operator. But in Java 4, all it did was say, okay, n's now 18. It would say true. So if you missed the other equal sign, you would just reassign 18 to n, and your program was true, and then you'd be like, why is this thing not working? I keep entering 17, but it keeps changing to 18. Now, that was an issue way back when with Java that drove us crazy for a very long time. Try troubleshooting something like that. We have hundreds of lines, and someone accidentally left off an equal sign. And you're trying to check if it's equal to 18, but instead you said it is equal to 18. It sucks. But yeah. So they fixed it. I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah. Okay. What happens if I type pi? What do you think I'm going to get? I don't know. I haven't done this one yet. Okay. I wasn't sure because some languages automatically have pi predefined. Okay. Now, isn't pi 22/7? Isn't it? Yeah, but no, not quite. 3.14, no, it's not exact. Isn't it 3.14157? Yeah, so it's, wow, that's weird. Why is it off? I don't know. It's not quite the same. But when working with variables, just remember the single equal is an assignment operator. You can assign strings, you can assign floats, you can assign ints, you can assign anything. Okay? All right, so the assignment token, remember a token is anything. It could be a reserved word, could be a mathematical operator, could be a parenthesis, could be a value, could be about anything. And it's Stephen, correct?
Yeah.
Good, just checking. See if you changed it. Belcher.
No.
Okay. All right. And it's Caitlin, not Bruce. See, I got that one. I'm just checking. So y'all remember it now. Okay. So what about this stuff? Let's try 17 equals n. Let's see what that does. 17 equals n. Why doesn't that work? Does anyone know? First of all, what is 17? It's an integer. But what type of variable is it? Well, integer, but it's also a constant. 17 is the 17 forever. 17 will never change. If it changed, we would have a big issue with that. So the number 17 is always 17. You can use it in mathematical calculations, but you can't assign anything else to it because it's like, hey, this is a constant. Okay? So many people are like, but it changes. No, it doesn't. 17 will always be 17. You might no longer be 17, but 17 is still 17. Okay? Yeah, it'd be nice. Wasn't there a movie, 17 Again or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Not that I watch a lot of movies. Okay. So let's continue on. Okay, we know that. We kind of did all that right there. Day equals Thursday. So let's do what they're doing here. They do day is equal to Thursday. Day equals Thursday. Not a problem. So if I type out day, I should get Thursday. I can say day equals Friday. If I day again, I get Friday. So if I type day, I'll get a string. So it's working exactly like we expected. We assign Thursday to it. We can output Thursday. Then we assign Friday to it. So what happened to Thursday when I said day equals Friday? It's gone. I overwrote the value. Think of, y'all know what Excel is? Hopefully you've seen Excel before. So day is a cell in Excel. I had the word Thursday in it. It's stored in memory. Well, when I said day equals Friday, it went to whatever was stored there and overwrote it with Friday. So it's actually gone. So, all right. Then we type day. Now let's do day is equal to 21. So what do you think I'm going to get when I type day again? See, that's weird because day was a string. You see that? And now it's an integer. That's one of the good things and bad things about Python. In Java, you have to tell it. Day is an integer. You have to say int day. That's all it can hold. Here, whatever it it's kind of like in Visual Basic it's called varchar, variable character. It can really hold anything. It's kind of what it is in here. When you're assigning something to it, at that point, it determines, okay, you are an integer. Okay. Can I change that? How could I assign? I could put quotes around it. What if I didn't want to put quotes around it? How can I assign 21 to day and make it a string without quotes?
STR parentheses.
There you go. Day equals str parentheses 21. And now it's saying assign day the value of the string 21. So now when I type day again, I should now get a string. That's also what's called typecasting. We forced the type onto day. We said, day, you are a string. Okay? Everybody see that? Very handy to do, but also cause issues. Okay. So what if I did... I don't know if I can even do this. Hold on. No, I can't do that. Okay, I wasn't sure if I could. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's weird. Some things don't quite come across the same. Now let's talk a little bit more about variable names and keywords. Could I make a variable called str? No, why can't I use str as a name? It's a keyword built into Python. There's certain words that it already knows. It knows about type. It knows about string. It knows about a whole bunch of stuff. And you got to be careful when doing something like that. Now, let's go with the 76 trombones. Okay. 76 trombones equals big something. Why can't I do 76 trombones? Anybody?
You trying to combine that into a string?
No, that's just the name of the variable. Well, let's look here. They can contain both letters and numbers, but they have to begin with a letter or an underscore. Okay. When creating a variable, your best way to do it is always start with lowercase and then use camel case. So in other words, if I wanted to say last name, I would go last name equals Dewey. Okay. Works fine. What if I did last name equals Smith? Now what if I want to print out last name? How come it didn't keep Smith? There are two different variables. One has a capital L at the beginning, one has a lowercase l. When creating variables with most languages, it's always a good idea to use this format. Start with a lowercase letter, then uppercase the first letter of every other word. Okay? Do you have to? No, because obviously last name worked fine. So if I type last name here, it remembers both, but they're case sensitive. So Python is case sensitive, Java is case sensitive, C is case sensitive, Visual Basic's not. So it really depends on your language, and that could really mess you up. You know, I was hired years ago. This is probably middle 90s. Was anyone born back in middle 90s? A couple of us maybe. I was hired to convert a Visual Basic program to the web. So I converted it to IIS, basically, ASIPA. And it was to give you the ability to log into the system with an account name and view checks for a bank. I was actually creating this for a bank. And I actually wrote this entire program for them where it would actually, you could log into the system, you could put in your account number, and it would display you a picture of your check. And what really sucked, like, I don't think we're interested in something like that. I'm like, are you serious? I got nothing for the job. But now everybody does it. I also created an auction site way before eBay. And the guy decided not to complete the project, and now we have eBay. It sucks. Pisses me off. But over on Del City on 29th Street, there's a Chick-fil-A. Not 29th Street, 15th. 15th and Sunny Lane, there's a Chick-fil-A right there. Behind it's a laundromat. Well, now it's a, they have games there now or something. In that laundromat used to be a guy who did all kinds of weird stuff. And, well, but he hired me to write software for him. And I actually wrote him an auction site, just like eBay. Yeah, I don't know if I have the money right now. We never completed it. It sucked. But the point is, so, okay. So when working with variables, it's just rules, okay? So, the whole point about the Visual Basic one was, I wrote it all. It sucked I didn't get no money for it. But when they wrote that program, they had already written it for the computer system, but it wasn't web-enabled. But when they wrote their variables, there was no rhyme or reason the way they did it. So me trying to figure out what the heck they did took a very long time. So it's nice if you follow a normal way of doing things. Now, if you're creating a class, which we'll talk more about later, but classes always start with an uppercase letter. So class could be last name. Okay? Now, what's the other one? We got variables, we got class. Now, if it's a constant, say I wanted to make the tax rate a constant. Anyone know how you should write those variables? You might know. I don't know.
In Java, it was final.
Final, but then what's the name look like?
It was uppercase.
All uppercase. So it'd be like tax with underscores now. That would be tax rate. Did I have to? No. It's just something you would do so that when someone else came across reading your code, anytime they saw a tax rate with an underscore, oh, that's a constant. So, okay, so it varies. Okay, so you see here, 76 trombones is bad because of the 76. We cannot have a dollar sign in it. Can't use class. Okay. Here's some other ones. 30-something keywords. And, def, finally, in, past, blah, blah, blah. All these. You can't use them. But could I use, let's try this one. Could I use true? Oh, sorry, I got caps lock on. Could I use that? Can I make a variable called true? It tells me I can't. But that's with an uppercase. I can. Now what if I did it with an uppercase? Oops. Actually, I don't know what this is going to do because... Okay, good. I shouldn't have taken it. Good. So that's one thing I'll be careful about. Some people, I have seen that where they will use reserved words, just using it in a different case. That's just a bad idea in my opinion. Okay? Global, for instance, is actually global in Visual Basic. It's final in Java. It's global here. It just varies. Okay? If then else, this one's different. elif. elif works in a couple different languages. We have an if, and an else, but we also have an elif. And that varies by languages. But these are just some words you can't use, and we'll explain more about what they all do later on. Okay? Okay, so beginners sometimes confuse meaningful to human readers with meaningful to computers. Sometimes they just don't work. Okay? Sometimes you can't. It says somewhat magically well, hold on, what is this one doing here? So wrongly think that it's because you call the variable average or pi, it will sometimes magically calculate it, but pi it does not. So okay. Some languages it does, but this one it doesn't. All right, there's other statements. Now there's a statement here they mentioned, which we're not going to use yet, but there's a statement called import. Everybody heard of import before? What does import mean outside of computers? You ship it in. You bring in something. You bring in parts, or you bring in food. You're bringing in something into you. Well, when working with programs, it's the same thing. You're bringing in another functionality. You didn't write it. Somebody else wrote it. Okay. There's a lot of functionality for Python, which we're going to play probably after, midway through the semester, maybe near the end, somewhere between mid and the end. But we're going to bring in functionality that other people wrote. Okay. Way back when I used to write a lot of my own software, I had an import library that I wrote for myself. It was called Kendui. Imagine that. I could just keep importing Kendui. It brought in the functionality that I liked into my code. So it was already there. Okay? But there's a lot of different statements. If statements, while statements, do statements, and we're going to play with them later. Okay? So when you type a statement on the command line, it executes a statement. They really don't do much, but you know, they're there. Like if I type if, so if I said if time equals 3, does anyone know what I'm missing on that statement in Python by any chance? I'm missing the colon, correct? If I type if time equals 3 with a colon, you don't need a colon in Java, but what it's telling me now is it executed the statement, and it's like, okay, what happens if time is equal to 3? What do you want me to do with it? So we really haven't told it at this point. So sometimes statements will just process and sit there. So how do I get out of this darn thing? Control C will give me a keyboard interrupt and get you out of there. That actually works in most languages. Okay, Control C will get you out of there. Now let's talk about evaluating expressions. Okay. Here they have 1 plus 1. We get 2. Okay. There's also length. Like if I did length of Ken. What's cool about idle, the moment I typed len, it kind of tells me what it does. Returns the number of items, and I can't read the rest because it's off the screen. But it kind of gives us some help. So if I type Ken, to return the length of Ken. Why is that important? Why do you think you would ever need the length statement? Anybody? Can someone give an example when you might want one? Word count, or character count, or anything. I mean, continue until the end of the string or something. You want to start at 1 and go to the end of the string. Well, what happens if the string is input? You don't know how much is input. They might be inputting 5 or 50 or 200. Yeah, when we, 2 weeks ago, the Cyber Club meeting, we were reading in a string from a file, and we had to continue till the end of the file. So, very easy for that. Okay? Now, let's look at a couple other examples they got here. And I'm going to scroll down so I can see it on the screen. I don't want to get to that one yet. Okay, so here we got 17. 17 is what again? It's a constant, so it gives us 17. We're not telling it to store it, we're just saying 17. It's like, okay, 17. I mean, what do you want me to do with it? Now, if I'm assigning something here where they do x equals 3.14, again, this is a statement. It's an assignment statement. It's going to assign 3.14 to x. Really doesn't produce any output at this point because we didn't tell it to produce any output. Okay? Now I could say x equals the length, length of hello, and I need the parenthesis in there. Okay, so why didn't it output anything? Well, because it was a statement. It said assign the value of the length of hello to x. So now if I type x, I get it. But what if I just typed kind of up here when I did the length of Ken? That one showed some output, yet this one didn't. Because, this one here, this is a statement using an assignment operator, so it assigned it to x, and it's like, okay, that's all you asked me to do. What do you want to do from this point? Okay. But since we are running a mini interpreter, we can still see the output here. Can I do y plus x? Sure I can. Why did I get 8.14 and not just 8? Right, and so what if I do type of x, and how about type of y to float? What if I do type, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if Python supports it. So why, if I do type of x, do I get integer? Type of y, I get float. Type of x plus y, do I get float? What if I did it the opposite way? What if I do it type of y plus x? Am I still going to get float? Why am I getting float? I mean, x is clearly an integer. Do you all agree with that up there? X is an integer. So why is this giving me float when I include x?
It's not a definite set value.
Okay, but there's another reason I'm looking for.
Your answer has a decimal in it?
Okay, but why did x basically get converted automatically? What it does whenever you're doing a mathematical calculation, it always converts to the larger data type. So the moment it saw x plus y, it said, whoa, y's bigger. So it automatically converted x to float and then added them together. Automatic type conversion is what it is. Okay. Let's talk about operators and operands. Okay, this is the following are legal Python expressions. We can understand what that means. We can understand our minus 1. We can understand all this kind of stuff. But what the heck is this other stuff? Let's look at that one. So if I type, oh, where'd my Python go? There it is. So if I type in 2, 3, what am I going to get? How the heck do we get 8? Isn't 2 times 3, 6? This is new math. No, just kidding. Exponents. This is how you do exponents in Python. So that means 2 raised to the 3rd power. But what if I did 2, 3, 2? Without cheating, what's the answer? So, 2 to the 3rd, we know give me 8. So is it going to be 2 to the 3rd, which is 8, to the 2nd, which would be 64? Or is it going to be 3 squared, which would be 9, then 2 to the 9th, which would be 5, 10, 24? Let's see. What do you think?
2 to the 9th.
5, 12. Okay, darn, I was off by 1. Whenever you do this, it starts from the right. So what this did was, this one here, it was easy. We knew it. This one here says, do the second one first. So 3 squared is 9. Then 2 to the 9th is 512. Everybody see that? Could I have made it do, how can I get that to output 64? Without changing the numbers or the asterisks. Can I? Add some parentheses. So let's try this. There you go. So now we said, do the 2 to the 3rd power first, but without parentheses, it's going to do the second one first. Okay? This can really cause issues. Okay? Plus, minus, asterisk uses parentheses for grouping, means in Python the mean is mathematics. The asterisk is a token of multiplication, but for double asterisk is exponents. Okay. So, let's type in this next example. Minutes equals 6:45. Hours equals minutes divided by 60 hours. Okay, is that correct? Sounds about right. But can I do that differently? What if I brought this statement down and did this? Would it change my output? What do you think? So what's the difference between this and this? Okay, this is division as we all know it. This is integer division. Is divide, return the results as an integer. Okay? Easy enough? It matters. Sometimes you don't want. Okay, can you, what was the example I used before? Can't think of the example now, darn it. What if I was going to ask you how many quarters it takes for something? Say the bill was 78. Okay, let's figure this one out. I want to know how many quarters it takes for total equals 78. Okay, how many quarters does that take?
19.5.
What?
19.5. 19.
Quarters. Lower that. We know it's 3. But if I did total divided by 25, what do I get? You can't give me 0.12 quarters. Because remember, think about computer language here. If I'm asking how many quarters does it take, that would be like, what? So sometimes we might want to know how many quarters it takes, and to do that, do integer division. And then we could calculate from there. Okay? Make sense? You don't always want the whole decimal places. Sometimes you want, the minutes or the whatever, in this case, quarters. Okay. So here they got an example. 7 to the 4 is 1.75. 7 to the 3 is 1. Okay, so we just kind of showed that same exact example. Now let's talk about type conversion. Okay, let's walk through some of what they have here. They have int 3.14. It's going to convert to an integer. So what happens to the 0.14? It's gone. So what if I wanted to add integer 3.14, whoops, get rid of the 2, plus 0.6. Is my answer going to be 3.2 or what? What am I going to get? 3.2 or 3.6? You sure?
Yes.
Why is it 3.6? Right. So what I'm doing, I'm taking an integer of 3.14. So what does that return? A 3. Then I'm adding a 0.6 to it. What if I do it this way then? What if I take that same value, add 0.06? So now am I going to get 3.06 or am I going to get 3.2? Because 0.14 and 0.06 will give me 0.2, won't it? 3.06 again. That whole 0.14 is lost. So what if I take this value and say, okay, fine, make this a float then. Whoops. What about that? The computer's going to be like, why are you wasting my time? It's already a float. So you're not to tell me anything different. Okay? To get it 3.2, I would have to get rid of the int. Okay? Make sense there? Okay, so they talked about that. They show you a bunch of examples of that. So convert to an int does not round. A lot of people think integer. So if I took 3.14, brought it down here, and change this to 99999, I get what?
3.
Not 4? I get 3. It truncates, does not round. So many people think it's this whole rounding thing. No, it's not. Integer typecasting truncates. Okay? So let's look at his last example there. Int 23 bottles. Tell you the truth, I've never tried this. It should give me an error. It did. Good. I was like, what? It's like, hey, I cannot convert 23 bottles to an integer. Because 23 might be a number, but bottles is not. 23 is a string. There is a way to fix that, but we'll talk about that later. All right. Let's go on down a little more. Now let's talk about float typecasting. So if we do float 17, I get a, what do you think I get? 17.0. Obviously it's on the screen. If I do float of 123.45, so it's a string, I'm going to convert to a float. Now I get my numbers I want. What if I did float int 3.14 plus 0.06? Am I going to get 3.2 or 3.06? Darn it. I can't get, there's no way to get 3.2 with that integer, is there? Because what happened is it did the internal first. This is okay, fine. Take 3.14, convert to a 3. Now let's add 0.6 to it. So at 3.06, convert to a float. Well, it's already a float. Could I take that same statement and then convert to a string? Now I should end up with a string of 3.06. Yep, sure can. It might get confusing sometimes when you see this, the string and the float all just put together, but you got to work it from inside out. Okay? Okay, type string, we already did that. String turns 17, that returns 17. Easy enough there. Okay? Order of operation, parentheses comes first. So we need to know PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, then what? Addition and subtraction, exactly. So parentheses are first. So in this example, 1 plus 1 and 5 minus 2, it's going to do 1 plus 1 to become 2. Then what's it going to do next?
3.
5 minus 2 is 3. So now we have 2 raised to the third power. Okay? So even though exponents comes before our addition and subtraction, since they're inside of parentheses, they're first. So many people do that on Facebook. They're like, what's the answer here? I'm like, stupid. Okay. Drives me crazy. It's like, seriously, don't you know the order of operations? So this one here, obviously we know now it starts from the right. Well, so actually let's see what that one does. 3 times 1 to the third power. 3 times 1 to the third power. Now, I didn't look at the answer yet. Just by what we learned, no parentheses, we have exponents. So should do the exponents first. What's 1 to the third power? 1 times 1 times 1, I'm thinking is 1. So 3 times 1 is?
3.
So we should get a 3, unless I'm wrong. Yay! Okay, let's go bring this back in here now, just in case. Let's put this as a 2. 2 to the third power is 8. 3 times 8, 24. Everybody following along with that? When you see this on the test, you'll be able to say, oh, it's 24. Easy enough. Okay, multiplication and division. Multiplication comes before division. So if I said 3 times, 3 times 4 divided by 2, what do I get?
6.
So 3 times 4 is 12 divided by 2 is 6. You sure it's not 4 divided by 2? Darn, it still gives me 6. Well, that's a bad example. Okay, how about 4? 4 times 4 is 16 divided by 2. Give me 8. 4 divided by 2. Still gives me 8. That's another bad.
The same either way.
Darn it. Well, that sucks. Well, I can't think of a good example. What's multiplication before division? So let's erase this since I'm not making any progress here. 5 minus 2 times 2. So here we do 2 times 2 is 4. 5 minus 1, or 5 minus 4 is 1. We don't do 5 minus 2 to get 3, and 3 times 2 is 6. We don't get that. Okay? Says operators with the same precedence are performed left to right. Okay? Actually, let's test that. So if I said 6 minus 3 plus 2. Oh, yeah, because I would have been wrong on this one. So 6 minus 3 plus 2 gives me what? Is it 5? Or is it 1? So what did it do? It did, since addition and subtraction are actually the same precedent, it did left to right. That's not the same in all languages, if I remember right. But at least in this language. So multiplication and division are the same precedence level, so it goes left to right for multiplication and division. For this one here, it'll do subtraction then addition. So it did 6 minus 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. Again, I think it's different in other languages. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Okay. So far, so good? Everybody with me? Okay. So let's see why these are errors. What is message right now? Anything? What's up, Doc? Okay. -1. Okay. Could I do message equals A? Now could I subtract 1 from message? How can I subtract 1 from message? Anybody? How can I make that statement not be an error? I can turn it into an integer. So what integer am I going to get? I'm going to get the ASCII value. So since message is equal to a capital A, it's going to be a 65. So it should give me 64. Seriously? Oh, wait a minute. I had to string out a character a little. Now it should work. Seriously? Why can't I do that? Well, it's not liking me doing that. Why can't I do that? That's just not even right. Guess you can't do that. But wait a minute. Yes, you can. I hate when it doesn't work my way. Why can't I do that? Because it's a character. Oh, well, I guess you can't do that. It's alright. Doesn't work. Well, that's stupid. Because it should work. There's got to be a way to make that work. Oh, well. I guess you can't. No, there's got. How about float? Sorry, guys. I don't know why it's not working. Can't do that either. Cannot convert string to float. Why? I can't use char. Oh, maybe I can. Okay, I give up. Can't get it to work. I don't know why it doesn't work. I'll have to play with that one some more. There's a couple things that are just a little quirky about this language. Okay, we already talked about this whole thing, how we can add strings together. Remember we did what's up, Doc, hi. We already did that example. Input. Okay, we can get input just like this. N equals input Please enter your name. Ken. There we go. Okay. Why didn't it pop up in a window? Anyone know why? Why didn't mine pop up in a window? Anyone know why? Well, we're not running it as a script. We're actually running it inside the interpreter. If I saved it as a Python script and then ran it from the command line, I would have got a prompt for that. So, okay. Let's see what else. Composition. We can build small. Yeah, we know about that. That's the same thing. Oh, what they're doing is adding things together. Like here, they're getting input, and then they're converting it to a float automatically, and then converting it to R. Easy enough there. You can also do mathematical calculations in your output. So saying the area is 3.14159 times R squared. Has anyone ever found real use for algebra in their real life? You know, so many people think there isn't a real use. Let me give you an example. I have a pool, which it's too hard to log in from here, and I have a hot tub on the side of my pool. Okay, it's half a circle. How would you figure out how much strap I need to go around it? It's not a circle. I mean, I could sit there and measure all the way around, but isn't there an easy way to do it?
Just need the diameter and the half the circumference.
Yeah, or you really can use algebra for that. Pi r squared is going to give you the radius of it. I mean okay, minus 9 foot. Hold on, let's bring this up. Hold on, so pi 3.14 times my radius, which was I think 9 feet, 2. That's the circumference in inches. Yeah, because it's not. Oh no, that's feet. No, that's inches. Wait a minute. What is my circumference in? It should be 9 foot. The radius is 9. I can't remember the numbers now. Darn, it's been so long. But I actually used it to calculate how long of the darn thing to buy it. It worked. I was shocked. My son actually works as a machinist, and he uses this stuff all the time. But I wish I knew those exact numbers. Yeah, pi r squared, which I have here. What was my radius? I don't remember now. But oh well. But there are uses for this stuff. And it's amazing when you actually come up with something like, oh. I had my stepson calculate it, and he's like, my God, there is a use for this stuff. I said, yeah, there actually is. So, all right. So they're combining things together. We talked about that. Modulus. Oh, I love modulus. Okay. I want to know what 7 divided by 2 is. Okay? But what is 7 modulus 2? She knows. She's had programming before. So why is 7 modulus 2 a 1? Other than Natalie Portman up here. Anybody? Modulus is the remainder. Y'all remember from math class where you put the number, then you do that little thing over it, and you put the number inside, and how many times does the 7 go into the 2? Or the 2, Well, with this, when I do 7 modulus 2, you're putting the 7, then you're putting, so I can't, well, actually I have paint on here, don't I? I'm an awesome painter, by the way. Here we go. So I'm going to put, I need black. Okay, we got black. So it's 7 modulus 2. So look at that awesomeness. That's what I wrote there. So put the 2, then you put the little thingy over it, and you put the 7. Okay, no, yes. No, I did it. Jeez, I did it wrong. Jeez. Having a bad day. It's 7 with a 2 over it. There it is, sorry. So how many times does 2 go into 7? 3. Within 3 times. So remember you did minus 6 Y'all remember that? And then you subtracted these and you get a 1. So then you went up here, you did 3, R1. Remember that? I got to teach this again tonight. I'm probably going to do it wrong there too. Modulus is the remainder. Okay? Why would that ever, can you ever think why you might want to know that? Well, it's used massively in cryptography. It's used all the time. Has anyone watched Imitation Game yet? Excellent movie, isn't it? You need to watch it. Imitation Game, it's on Netflix. Go watch it. Go watch Hidden Figures, too. That's another amazing movie. But remainder can be used for things like, what day of the week is it? Is it the first day of the week? Because if you use modulus 7, it'll return the remainder, and you can calculate if it's, a Monday or a Tuesday. It can be used for all kinds of things. Maybe if you want to figure out if it's an odd or even number. Mod by 2. If it returns 0, then you know it's, so if I did, actually let's do that in Python here. So if I want to find out a number is an even number or not, so if I did 5 mod 2, if I get a 1, it's not an even number, okay? So if I did 6 mod 2, if I get a 0, that means there's no remainder. So whenever I do any number mod 2, that determines if it's an even number or not. So let's just test that. 112 mod 2. Now obviously we know this is even. But how does the computer know it's even? How, if you wrote a software program, how would you know it was even? Very easy way to do it. Just use mod 2. Okay? You can do mod 3, divisible by 3. You can do mod 7, figure out the days of the week. You can do whatever you want to do. So modulus is very handy and used a lot in cryptography. If you're in cryptography, if you're in the cyber program, like she is but not, since she got her major declared incorrectly, you'll learn more about it later on. Someday you need to fix that, Just saying. Okay. All right. So let's go on. Any question about what we've covered so far? Okay. We've covered a lot. I've given you everything you need to do your homework. It's all in there. All the different typecastings back and forth. I think we did enough of them. You just need. I think you can figure out how many tribbles fit in. Y'all seen the tribble Star Trek Tribble episode? You guys are so young. Has anyone seen the Tribble episode? Okay, two of us. You don't know what you... Oh, hold on. This is like...
867.
There you go. Basically, tribbles were so cool. Okay? They went out to this planet, Captain Kirk and all them, and they brought back a couple tribbles. But the problem is they replicate exponentially and took over the entire ship to the point where they took over everything. So, kind of like gophers. Okay? So that's what you can be figuring out, is how many tribbles can do something, I guess. Yeah. So you need to... and what was the one about milk? What do we have to calculate?
Milk bags.
I didn't come up with these. I'm innocent on these. But you need to find this one to watch that one. It was a pretty good one.
Why would you even milk?
I don't know. All right. Any questions on anything? All right. No in class today. Aren't you excited?
Yes.
Hopefully some of you still paid attention and followed along. Okay?